All right, welcome back to another Gamemaker how-to. What we're going to take a look at in this one is the all-popular points multiplier. So basically, this is when you're collecting items, and then you do really well. Instead of getting just 1 point per item, that after maybe a couple of them, you hit the multiplier, and then you get 2 points. And then the multiplier gets you 4 points, then 8 points, then 12. Nope. 8 to 16. So you get the idea, right? We all know what multipliers are if we've been playing games. So here's a simple way to code a multiplier in. So the first thing I've done here in my project is I've made this object called globals. Now you don't have to make a separate object to do this. You could code this in your player if you wanted, but I thought I'd just sort of keep it separate in a different object. So in the create, I've made a couple of variables that are going to help me out here. Now ignore these ones down here. Those are for a killing spree video I'm going to make in a few minutes. But it's these ones up here for our multiplier. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm keeping track of the player points with this global points. I'm keeping track of my current multiplier with global multiplier. And you can see it's 1. So when they score a point, it's the multiplier, 1, times whatever number of points I want to give them. Right? So that's the multiplier. Multiplier step. This variable I've set to 5. What I'm going to make for this particular little sample is every 5 hamburgers you collect, you sort of progress to the next level and the multiplier goes up a notch, right? And you can see here if you wanted, you could just say multiplier step is 1. Every single time you collect a burger, the multiplier starts to increase. But for this particular little example, let me just set it to 3. Okay, not too high, too hard for us. Success count. What this one's going to be keeping track of is basically how close am I to the next multiplier step. So when I start the game, right, it's 0. As I collect the burgers, success count's going to go 1, 2, 3. Well, when I hit 3, that's my multiplier step. I know it's time to make my multiplier get bigger, so I get more points every time I collect a burger. So let's just see how this one is done here. Okay, so all these variables are set sort of to their beginning. Now, let's go into player, hitting the burger. You can see what I do right now is right now I just destroy the burger, make a little effect. I create one of those little points things, right, that sort of floats away, a value of 1, and I give the player 1 global point for that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to insert my code above here and go back later. I'll change how many points the player gets, but in here I'm going to basically do my multiplier code, and then as a good programmer, you know, you should probably move this to a script later on. So here I go, multiplier code. So first thing I want to do is let me just refresh myself on those variables that I had made in the global, because I've already forgotten what they are. So in the global I had these here, multiplier points, multiplier step. Okay, success count. This one has to go up because I just successfully got a new, or I hit a burger, right? And so let's go back to the player burger. And let's go global dot success count. Goes up by 1. Now it's gone up by 1. I want to ask, have I reached the special value to increase my multiplier? So have I reached multiplier step? So let's quickly ask that. If global dot success count is greater or equal to global dot multiplier step, then what I have to do is take my multiplier up a notch, right? So instead of my multiplier being 1, I'm going to double it, make it 2. So global dot multiplier times 2. Okay, so now it goes up. Now one thing you have to remember to do here is now you've sort of reset the process. I have to now get another 3, right, multiplier step burgers before I do the multiplier again. So basically I have to reset my success counter. So global dot success count goes back down to 0. And that's pretty well it. That'll handle that part. So let's do that. So that's basically handling the multiplier for when I catch a burger successfully, right? So success count goes up. See if you've hit the point where you want to multiply your multiplier, and if so, multiply your multiplier, and then reset the process, right? Successful catches goes back down to 0. Now, I have to give the player points, right, based on this multiplier. Sorry there, I'm having a bit of a spaz out with my screens here. Now, when I give the player points, I'm just going to make a little side variable here. Okay, I'm just going to call it give. Okay, how many points am I going to give them? And I'm going to say that I'm going to give the player, now normally for catching a burger they get 1 point. So I'm going to say 1 point times global dot multiplier. Okay, and that's how many points they get. Now when I actually give them this many points, let's just make a little change here. That little points object that floats away, let's set this equal to give. And when we give the actual points to the player with the global variable, let's set that to give as well. So you get the idea here. If my multiplier goes from 1 times 2 to 2 times 2 to 4 times 2 to 8, I'll be giving 1 times 8 points to the player. The points thing will say 8, and the actual points will go up by 8. Okay, so that's a bit of code. Let's test this out and see if successfully catching burgers gives me the points. But don't quit watching the video yet. There's actually one very important thing I have to add in after this. But let's just test this code out. Now let's catch some burgers. 1, 2, 3. And you can see here my multiplier is already at 4. I'm about to get to 8. And you can see here my success count variable up here, is performing as properly. My multiplier is 16, so I'm getting huge amount of points for collecting these burgers, right? But the only thing I have to do here is, oops, miss a couple burgers. And when I do miss those burgers, you know what the penalty is. Now, there's two types of penalties we could do. Some games would take my multiplier. Right now it's 64. Let me avoid this. Some would take my 64 multiplier and bring it down to 32. Some games would just bring it all the way back down to 1, right? That's the price you pay. I'm just going to bring it all the way back down to 1 because it's faster. I'll leave the divide by 2 as a challenge for you guys. So let's do the miss a burger code. And really the miss a burger is going to be right in here with the burger. And I've just coded it for now inside of burger. Outside a room, I get the burger to destroy itself. So I'll just do a little before it destroys itself. I'll just say global multiplier goes back down to 1 and global dot multiplier. I don't even remember what I called my variable here. Let's go. Getting old. I called it success count. Let's just copy the line. That's easy. Burger. Come on, burger. Outside room, global success count, back down to 0. Full reset, right? And so now you miss a burger, all the way back down. For those of you that just wanted to take it down a notch, you could have gone divide equals 2. Divide the multiplier by 2 instead, and make sure that you're not going to some weird fraction like 0.5, right? Let it bottom out at 1. You could have added that in there, but I'll just set it back down. Now we give this a quick test, and you should be very happy. The multiplier is working. I'll catch a couple burgers here. You'll see that it works. Multiplier, let me miss a burger, and I'm back down to multiplier 1 and only getting 1 point per burger. So you can start with this basic idea, right? You can limit your multiplier. Don't let it get too high. You could even adjust it level-wise. It doesn't always have to be a success count, of 3. You could change this so that this multiplier step, you don't need to reach 3 every time. You could modify this variable as well so it gets harder and harder to get the multiplier. You can fiddle with this and use it as a starting point. Anyways, that's your basic multiplier that gets people going. I think it's a nice touch for games, right? It gets the player sort of into it, right? So they don't want to make mistakes and they can always do a little bit better, right? Not miss one. Have fun with that. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, if you like this video, why not click the like button, or even better, subscribe to this channel, share it with a couple friends. That's what keeps us going. Thanks.